This is TechCrunch. As space companies itch to push the most advanced chips into orbit, the problem of cooling those high-powered processors is top of mind. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said when asked about space-based data centers during his firm's most recent earnings call, "It's cold in space, but there's no airflow, and so the only way to dissipate is through conduction." Now, Sophia Space has raised $10 million from investors, including Alpha Funds, KDDI Green Partners Fund, and Unlock Venture Partners. The company plans to prove out a new approach to passively cooling space computers on the ground, then buy a satellite bus from Apex Space and show that it works in orbit by late 2027 or early 2028. Companies like SpaceX, Google, or StarCloud are examining traditional satellite form factors for their proposed space data center constellations, which rely on large radiators to keep chips in optimal thermal condition. Sophia Space's founders have a different approach. The company's tech comes from an unusual source, a $100 million endowed program at Caltech to develop orbital solar plants that would beam electricity to Earth below. The researchers ultimately settled on a sail-like structure that is thin and flexible compared to boxy traditional satellites. While technical and regulatory challenges make producing electricity for Earth difficult, the CTO of the company, Leon Alkali, a fellow at the Caltech Managed Jet Propulsion Laboratory, was struck by the idea of using the design to power space-based processors. Sophia, an NVIDIA partner, has designed modular server racks with integrated solar panels it calls tiles, which are 1 meter by 1 meter in area and a few centimeters in depth. By adopting this thin form factor, the company says that processors can sit against a passive heat spreader, eliminating the need for active cooling. The company expects 92% of the power it generates will go to processing, a significant gain on traditional designs. This design requires, however, a sophisticated software management system to balance activity across the processors. By the 2030s, Sophia hopes to be building larger space data centers out of thousands of tiles, envisioning a 50 by 50 meter structure delivering 1 megawatt of computing power. Now, the company argues that attempting to build space data centers with less efficient systems will not be economical, and that a single structure rather than a distributed network linked by lasers will be easier to execute. But first, Sophia plans to begin by offering its tiles to satellite operators that require compute solutions on orbit. Potential partners include Earth observation satellites collecting large amounts of sensor data, missile warning and tracking systems that the Pentagon is investing billions of dollars to build, or even increasingly complex communications networks. The company said that the dirty little secret of the satellite industry is we've got all these amazing sensors up there that produce terabytes or even petabytes of data every few minutes, and they throw most of it out because they can't do the computing on board, and they can't get round trip back and forth to the surface fast enough. From space to trace. For all their potential, AI agents have been slow to make an impact in the enterprise world, and one new startup is betting that the reason they have not is a lack of context. Trace is a workflow orchestration startup aimed at filling that gap. The company maps complex corporate environments and processes so that agents have the context they need to scale quickly. Trace CEO Tim Cherkasov said OpenAI and Anthropic are building these brilliant interns that can be leveraged within the company, referring to the AI Lab's tools. Well, we're building the manager that knows where to put them. On Thursday, the London-based company said it had raised $3 million in seed funding from Y Combinator, Zeno Ventures, Transpose Platform Management, Goodwater Capital, Formosa Capital, and WeFunder. Angel investors Benjamin Bryant and Kevin Moore also invested. Trace's system starts by building a knowledge graph from a company's existing tools. Systems like email, Slack, and Airtable that shape the day to day working life of the firm. With that context in place, users can prompt the system with a high level task like, "We need to design a new microsite," or "Let's develop our 2027 sales plan." And Trace will come back with a step by step workflow, delegating some tasks to AI agents and assigning others to human workers. When the system does invoke an AI agent, it will prompt it with the specific data needed to complete its subtask. The idea is to automate away the delicate work of onboarding AI agents, one of the biggest blockers for actual deployment within companies. With so many companies focused on agentic AI, Trace will have plenty of competition. Earlier this week, Anthropic launched its own take on enterprise agents focused on pre built plugins for specific departmental functions. And many of the workplace productivity services that Trace will be drawing from, like Atlassian's Jira, are launching their own agents, which will potentially compete with the startup's system. But Trace's founders believe their knowledge graph approach will be the key to success, as they can build context engineering deep into the structure of agentic deployment. CTO Artur Romanoff said 2024 and 2025 was still about prompt engineering. Now we've moved from prompt engineering to context engineering. Whoever provides the best context at the right time is going to be the infrastructure on top of which the AI first companies will be built. And we hope to be that infrastructure. That's it from TechCrunch. For more stories like these, check out TechCrunch.com.